All right. So on paper, the Atlanta Falcons are a better football team than the 49ers. They're a tier above San Francisco. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. Handicap the matchup. But first, some breaking news. 49ers practice participation report came out for today. Dominick Puni, their starting right guard, did not practice due to a knee issue. Kyle Shanahan, before practice, had anticipated that Puni would be a limited participant. Puni was a zero participant today. We will be able to know more, I would hope, tomorrow. I'm going to go back out there on that practice field and see if Puni is there. But if he doesn't practice again on Thursday, it means the 49ers are probably going to have to dig even deeper into their offensive guard depth on Sunday against Atlanta. So, because right now they're already missing Ben Barch, who is their starting left guard. Connor Colby, the rookie, is coming off the bench to replace Ben Barch. If they also do not have Dominick Puni for Sunday's game, then it might be Drew Moss. That's the other 49ers rookie offensive lineman, the undrafted free agent out of Colorado State, fan favorite, leaving training camp. It might be Drew Moss starting, or it could be Matt Hennessy starting, or Nick Zakelj can get called up in the practice squad. Either way, the weakest part of this 49ers offense has been the interior offensive line. Dominick Puni has not been playing up to his 2024 standard. He is on the injury report right now with a knee issue. It is presumably the same knee issue that started bothering him with the injury itself in week 2 of the preseason against the Raiders. This week, Kyle Shanahan did publicly acknowledge that Dominick Puni had been set back as far as his performance has gone due to that knee issue. He was an 89th percentile PFF grade amongst guards last year. He's down to 24th percentile this season. So it's been a problem for the 49ers, and maybe they're saying, okay, Dominick Puni's been playing through this knee, but now we got to step back and get him right, because the interior line really, really struggled. And we know that Dominick Puni has a much higher ceiling than what he has shown so far this year. And we do wonder if it's the knee that has been bothering him and preventing him from reaching it. Now, Vita Vea, who is the defensive tackle, the 347-pounder for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, gave San Francisco a whole heck of a lot of trouble. But when you look at this Atlanta Falcons defense, they may not have a Vita Vea in the middle, and it's not a Grady Jarrett situation anymore, but they do have David Onyemata, the former very, very solid defensive tackle of the New Orleans Saints. Onyemata is now a Falcon staying in that division. He can create a lot of issues on the inside. This is a team now that has 14 sacks already this year. They only had 31 throughout all of 2024. It was the second least productive pass rush in the league. But between some young guys at the defensive end positions like Zach Harrison and Brandon Dorius, and some older players like Leonard Floyd, who was with the 49ers last year, we know that Leonard can rush the passer, combined with what they're doing on the inside there with David Onyemata, and also James Pierce Jr. Don't forget about him. Remember him? He was the Tennessee edge rusher. He's on this Atlanta team. This is all part of the effort to spruce up that pass rush. Anyway, a lot of it starts on the inside, and that's where the 49ers have had the weakest blocking so far this year. And Dominick Puni has now missed this practice for the 49ers. So that is the latest news. The rest of the practice report today, interesting indeed, but we already knew most of it heading into this show, because the 49ers have to disclose what they think is going to happen before practice on Wednesday. Thursday, they practice before there's a press conference, so it's a little bit different. If you want to take a look at the actual practice participation report, here you go. That's for the Falcons up at the top. Leonard Floyd didn't practice today. He's sick. You see him there listed with an illness. But for the 49ers, it is 18 players long down here at the bottom. Now, they also have some did not participate due to vet days. That's how the 49ers manage Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey. So nothing to worry about there. But a couple that I'm looking at, Sky Moore did not participate with an ankle injury, but Jordan Watkins, the rookie receiver, did. Is there a chance that Jordan Watkins is making his NFL debut and returning punts? And I mean, we'll see. I asked Kyle Shanahan about Sky Moore fielding the punts inside the 5 today, and Kyle Shanahan said, big no. I said, yes or no? What's your coaching evaluation of fielding punts inside the 5? If you like the question and you like the answer from Kyle Shanahan, you could give me a thumbs up, because Kyle Shanahan gave a thumbs down to Sky Moore fielding punts inside the 5. Anyway, Sky is not practicing due to an ankle injury. Mentioned Dominick Puni not practicing due to a knee injury. Upton Stout was a full participant, so we expect him to be back out there. He's got a shoulder that he's working through. And the big ones from earlier today were Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, and George Kittle, all of whom were out at practice. Technically limited participants. George is still on injured reserve, but they can activate him as soon as this weekend. But, I really let's talk more about the 49ers offensive line. Let's even open up the depth chart here to see the possibilities that the 49ers have with their front, because the interior has definitely been the point of weakness for the 49ers. I could zoom in. You could see we've got Dominick Puni in the injury shading here for the 49ers. Everybody wants to talk about Brendel, and I think I've talked about Brendel a lot. Jake Brendel not blocking well in space in this past game against Tampa Bay. The 49ers like what Jake Brendel does from a communication aspect. There's a lot on the center's plate, but I will continue to say that screen pass at the end of the first half to Christian McCaffrey, I know it's just one play, but it just didn't look good. He just let, on the play, Levante David seemed like he was unblocked, get the McCaffrey. And when you miss a block like that, Christian is so good in open space. All you have to do is give Christian a little bit of open space, and he could turn it into something really, really special. And when you're missing blocks that can spring Christian McCaffrey, you're costing your offense a lot of efficiency. There was also a holding penalty from Jake Brendel later on. Connor Colby is Connor Colby. He's a rookie. He's a 7th-round pick. I get that he hasn't been great. I don't think anybody expected him to be great. Losing Ben Barch to injured reserve with a high ankle sprain was a very, very damaging development for the 49ers, because it's forcing Trent Williams to play a little extra time on the left side, picking up some slack for Connor Colby. So I just kind of consider that, though, part of the equation. You expect the guy to be hurt. I mean, in the NFL, if you go through an entire season without losing a single lineman, then you've had a very fortunate season. So I always say you've got to have more than 5 capable bodies. So Colby filled in for Ben Barch. And I also think that this 49ers offensive line is designed in a way that you can maybe work around one of the guard spots not playing great football. I don't think you could work around both of the great guard spots not playing great football. And Dominick Puni obviously has seen, probably because of the knee issue, has seen the play sink so far this year. And the 49ers badly need to get one of those guard spots back up to above average productivity surrounding Jake Brendel. Because you know what? The tackles have been good. There's a big misconception that this line 1 through 5 has really been struggling. That's not the case. Trent Williams, number 7 out of 62 tackles in terms of PFF grade. Colton McKivitz, number 15 of 62 tackles in terms of PFF grade. So both of the tackles have been fine for the 49ers. It's the interior that needs to be fortified. And I think interior pressure is, let's talk about pass protection first. I think interior pressure is brutal, because quarterbacks rarely have a chance to actually get away from interior pressure, no matter how athletic they are. And we know Brock Purdy is one of the best pressure to sack ratios. Like, he's really, really good at avoiding sacks. But if the pressure is coming right up the gut, it's going to be really hard for even Brock Purdy to escape it. It's going to be impossible for Mac Jones to escape it. We saw Mac sacked 6 times against Tampa Bay. If the pressure is coming from the tackles, there's a little bit more of a window for a quarterback to get away, especially if it's not coming from his blind side and he can see it or he can sense it coming from left tackle. That's when the scrambling ability can come into play. That and on blitzes, it can come into play. But interior pressure is so devastating to an offense, the passing offense. The 49ers have got to figure it out. It's also devastating to a rushing offense. And we know that the 49ers are not ranked well when it comes to running the football. I mean, they're down near the bottom of the league running the football. This is overall team efficiency, by the way. See the 49ers right in the middle. They're in a cluster there with the Bears, the Jake Moody-led Bears, the Eagles, the Cardinals, whom they beat. They're the 49ers. The Panthers will be coming to Levi's a little bit later this year. One reason that the 49ers offense is not further out here, despite the fact that they've been passing decently efficiently, probably the reason, despite the passing issues, is the run offense problems for the 49ers. They are not running the football as effectively as they need to. That has led to way more passing than they want. That has overexposed their quarterbacks. And there are a few reasons, and we've talked about them all season. One of them is that the interior line is not holding up, either against the pass or especially against the run. When we're talking about the ground game, it is not holding up the way that it needs to. So when you talk about the all the issues with the run game, it's lack of true receiver threat for the 49ers right now. I mean, they're popping off big games passing wise, but opponents are more than happy to let that happen because they just don't want to be controlled by the ground game. So the 49ers have not really been able to make teams pay for ganging up on the run. Interior line trouble, and no George Kittle. And George Kittle is your ultimate leverage piece. Like, those are the three main issues for the 49ers when it comes to not being able to run the ball, and that's keeping the offense here in the middle of the pack. And the defense, by the way, has been sliding downward on this team tier chart. If it continues at this rate, they're going to be where the Dolphins are in some time. They've got to find a way to stabilize the defense. And I'm a big proponent of your best defense, especially right now, down your two top defensive players, is a good offense. If you're the 49ers, you have to hog the ball. Now, one reason that the 49ers math is more promising than just this team tier chart, and they're going to get guys back, obviously. So, I mean, knock on wood, you don't want to lose more guys before you get guys back. But they think they could be better offense and defense on the XY chart. This doesn't take special teams into account. And ever since Eddie Pinheiro showed up in week 2, the 49ers special teams has been well above average. Like, they had +7 in special teams expected points this past game. So if you made this three-dimensional, like if you made this a pyramid or something and added that third dimension, which is special teams, ever since week 2, the 49ers have been standouts on that side of the ball. Even though Sky Moore is fielding punts inside his 5, it's been because Eddie Pinheiro has been 15 of 15 on field goals. And that changes the math for the 49ers. It really does, because you want to be out here with these teams, right? So far, the Colts are your only elite team. The Packers behind them, the Lions over there. Look at the Bucs. 49ers faced an elite team the other day, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a second-tier team, I would say. They beat the Rams. They lost to the Bucs, so they went 500 against teams who have been more efficient than them. But their special teams is better than both LA's and Tampa Bay's, and that's something that I think helped them beat LA. I mean, special teams is what one of the differences against LA, who's a better performer, and it helped them keep it reasonably close against Tampa Bay. The post-game win probability for the LA game was 2% for the 49ers, and they ended up hitting it. They won. It was only 1% against Tampa Bay, and they obviously lost. But for a 1% post-game win probability, they had, I mean, they were in that game until the fourth quarter, right? That a few breaks went their way, especially those ones on special teams, but the 49ers just couldn't deliver the leverage plays that they needed on offense and defense to beat Tampa Bay. Anyway, when you look at this, you can see where Atlanta is. Interestingly, they're in the very same spot on this graph as Jacksonville. Jacksonville came into Levi's and won, but they won. That was the one game that the 49ers have dropped due to special teams this year. That was the punt return for a touchdown. So, but that was also with Brock Purdy starting at quarterback for the 49ers, who's a better performer than Mac Jones. And they're probably going to have to go with their QB2 again this week, even though Purdy is back at practice. I would expect it to be Mac, since Mac was way more involved in 49ers practice today than Brock was. So interesting stuff for San Francisco. They are 2-point favorites, by the way, still getting some respect in the odds column. They're 2-point favorites over the Atlanta Falcons, a team that, everybody wants to talk about that offense, and they should. You have Michael Penix Jr., you got Bijan Robinson, you have Drake London at that receiver position. There was an injury to Jake Matthews, the left tackle, the other day that could hurt Atlanta's pass protection. And pass protection is very important for this team because Michael Penix Jr. does not move well. I mean, he's a statue. If there ever was a statue in the NFL, Michael Penix Jr. is a good example of one. He does not move well, but if this is a 7-on-7 game, if this is a game where the 49ers are unable to get pressure because Bijan Robinson is running all over them and they don't have a pass rush without Nick Bosa, if they can't find a way to generate some juice up front, Penix is going to be able to sit back there and carve them up, which is what he's been able to do to teams that haven't adequately rushed the Falcons so far this year. Remember Kyle Pitts in that 2021 draft, the tight end? He's also on this Falcons team. He's one of the targets. Bijan Robinson trains with Christian McCaffrey over the offseason. He can catch the football out of the backfield. Tyson Algier, more of a bruising running back, the number 2 for Atlanta. Drake London, big catch radius, receiver out of USC, plucked a nice football out of the air when he scored against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, if you need to know how dangerous this Falcons team is, they're volatile. That they lost the Panthers a couple weeks ago, 30-0, but they also turned around and beat the Buffalo Bills the other day. And if you want to see the team tier chart, well, Buffalo is, of course, on it, and Buffalo is in a pretty good spot on the team tier chart. I'm looking for the Bills right here. They're hidden under the Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo had not had a great defense so far this year, which is really interesting to me. They've taken a step down defensively. They were up here. I mean, they were about the Lions level defensively last year. It wasn't great for Buffalo, but it has gotten worse over the year. I thought that might see a little bit more of a build. And because of this, you can see that there's a lot of vulnerability. All the teams that have a great offense, except for the Colts, have sketchy defenses. And I would even include the Lions. I would definitely include the Bucs. We saw how beaten up their secondary was. The 49ers were able to get some passing yardage against them. The Colts right now, you're only like true upper right performer in the NFL. There's kind of an L shape here, right? As I trace it, there's an L. Yeah, the Rams are sticking out a bit, but the 49ers have actually already beaten them. It's the Colts, and the 49ers get to play them in December, who are truly bringing something a little bit more special on here. Now, if you go back to 2022 and 2023, when the 49ers had their true juggernaut teams, they were in this ballpark. But even they got beat. They obviously didn't win the Super Bowl in either of those 2 years. So it never is something that I think you can take for granted, even if you do have a team up here. Everybody in this NFL is beatable. And this year, the reason that you see so much parity is because you don't have a firm upper right team. Everybody's kind of hugging one of the axis lines here because you're not really seeing a team separate itself in both of the primary phases. It's either offense like Green Bay or defense like Denver. You're not seeing a team deliver both and really take that firm upper right territory. And the 49ers, well, defense may be hard to raise up, but they're trying to move along this x-axis as far right as possible as this happens. And another chance for the 49ers to continue establishing themselves is coming up here against Atlanta, the Falcons, with probably Mac Jones starting for the 49ers. Probably no Ricky Pearsall, though he's starting to feel better for San Francisco. But you know what? George Kittle and his return is a really, really big deal for the 49ers, because we talk about run game. We talk about the need to up the ante there, especially if Mac has to start again and you don't have the same mobility at the quarterback position. Well, then George Kittle is huge formulaic part of that. I mean, he's leverage of the line of scrimmage. You don't know if you're going to run. You don't know if they're going to pass when George Kittle is up there. All right, let's answer a couple questions. Offensive line, if you guys want to. I covered all that. I'm ready to answer some stuff. Then Lombardi herself is now living in San Francisco, and she wants a burrito. So we're going to go to Taqueria Cancun, pick up a burrito, and I'm not going to eat there this time, but she's waiting at home. So we're going to go get a burrito, and we'll call it a night a little bit early tonight, because I can only talk about the 49ers interior offensive line for so long. I think I've covered most of the ground. I'm here waiting to answer your questions. Tina says, Trent trying to help Colby, Puni trying to help Brendel, and maybe Brendel trying to help Puni because of his knee. I mean, it's all connected up front, right? Trent definitely trying to help Colby on that left side. I think Ben Barch will be a big return for the 49ers. Any chance they actually reach out to Feliciano? The way that it's going right now, we'll have to see how serious this knee issue is for Dominick Puni, but I think that could be a domino that does lead you to reach out to John Feliciano, who does want to be reached out to. Post your questions, guys. You don't have that long tonight. I have to go get a burrito for my wife. Is Charlie Werner better than Luke Farrell? I think so. And Charlie's on the Falcons now, reunion with Charlie Werner. I think that Charlie's been the best tight end too, blocking wise, that the 49ers have had under Kyle Shanahan. They've been trying to reprise that role, and Luke Farrell's the latest bid at that, but I don't think he's been as good as Charlie Werner. I will say that Luke has needed an acclimatization period. This was his best game run blocking in Tampa. He did have the unfortunate pass rep where he got beaten by Jamal Dean. So that shouldn't count against his run blocking credibility, though. But it's the run blocking where they really need that tight end to be good. Nick Martin, he's going to have a chance to move off of that inactive list now without Fred Warner there. So the time is now for Nick Martin, maybe not necessarily to start for the 49ers, but to take that next step in his developmental progression. All right, guys, everybody, thanks for watching. There's your first preview of 49ers Falcons, and we also talked a lot about what happened for San Francisco on that offensive line. That's something to watch as we move into tomorrow. All right, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.